executive member for the UNESCO, so many things. He'll be buried on Sunday at Bunyantole in Busesa in Bugweri district. I think the dates, the actual activities will be given to you. But for now, I wanted to ask that we stand up in the honor of Professor Wandira. I know many of you were in Makerere when he was our Vice Chancellor.
May his soul rest in eternal peace.
Members, I will also be altering the order paper to allow the presentation of one urgent petition by Commissioner Mwijuke. He will be called at the appropriate time. Now, if we could quickly run through the matters of national importance. Honorable Tayewa, 2 minutes. Not there. Honorable Ayaka, 2 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity. Madam Speaker, I have a national importance matter which is related to the Teachers Circle in Uganda. Government of Uganda, through the Ministry of Education, allocated 25 billion shillings to be managed by the Teachers Circle in Uganda. However, in the financial years 2013-14, 2014-15, this money was deposited by the ministry to the Microfinance Support Center without the knowledge of the Teachers Circle. Madam Speaker, in 2016, the Teachers Circle made a follow-up, and it was resolved that this money should be managed by the Teachers Circle through their own management system. Ministry of Education therefore started depositing this money in the account of the teachers from the financial year 2015-16. However, 10 billion had already been deposited in the account of the Microfinance Support Center. To date, a total figure of about has been deposited. Cannot see it. So some money has been deposited, however, in the teacher's account, but there is a balance of 7.8 billion shillings which has not been deposited to date. This Tuesday, I went to the Teachers Circle offices because my teachers in my district had wanted to also get benefit of this money, but the people in the circle of the teachers told me that they had run out of the money and that the money was not.
The prayers quickly.
The prayer is that the Ministry of Education should honor the provision of the Memorandum of Understanding, which was reached with the ministry in 2015, to the effect that it should be the ministry, it should be the Teachers Circle to manage the funds, and therefore this figure of 7.8 billion shillings should be deposited in the teachers' account so that they can serve other districts like my own, which have never been served. And I'm quite sure that there are a number of districts in this country that have not benefited from this money, and therefore the ministry should expedite this process and make sure that the 7.8 million shillings is given to the Teachers Circle to be managed for the welfare of the teachers of this country. Thank you.
Minister of Education, do you have anything to say, or you'll give us an answer when you're ready?
Right, Honorable Speaker, I would like to thank my colleague for raising that concern. True, there is a balance that the Ministry of Education is supposed to send to the Teachers Circle, but allow me, when I'm making a response to the issues that have been raised, to give more information.
Okay. Thank you. So we shall get an answer a little bit later. Honorable Nzima, 2 minutes.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. Right Honorable Speaker, I'm raising a matter of public importance concerning abandoned projects by UNCR in Yumbe district. Madam Speaker, UNHCR initiated the drilling of water sources that were supposed to be powered and piped. This was in the budget of 2017-2018. Around 5 water sources were drilled in the Kei sub-county, one in Palaza Parish, in Manjere village, another one in Arelos sub-county, that was in Joke Parish, Origin village. In Kochi, it was in Goboro, and in Kerua Rodo. These were basically water sources that were supposed to benefit areas that acted as refugee receiving centers. But since then, these projects have been abandoned. When I tried to follow the matter, UNHCR was telling me that these projects will be taken up by the district. And yet, this was not an initiative of the district. It was a project that was started by UNHCR. They were even using their own engineers, not the district engineers, so they have abandoned them. So I want to pray that through the Office of Prime Minister, UNHCR will be put to task to complete these projects, because what is now left is production and distribution. So the process of production and distribution should be fulfilled. Even in Idrajin, there is one which is also abandoned. So I will pray through you to the Office of Prime Minister that these projects be completed so that it can benefit the community. Because, Madam Speaker, you will recall the idea of the policy of settling refugees within the community.
Now, they are only in Yumbe district.
I think I was sharing with the Honorable Gama on this issue. He also told me some of these are also abandoned in Irano camp. That is in a rural district. It should be maybe something which cuts across in most of these districts. So we expect that as they promise to fulfill the obligations, this will be done. Because the idea of settling refugees among the community was to ensure that activities and projects that are implemented should benefit both. Okay. But if they are abandoned, then the community will have nothing to reap from UNHCR. And also, most of these communities have given these lands free to settle the refugees.
Honorable, Right Honorable Prime Minister, this is an important issue. First of all, water for the community is important, but also we do contribute to the United Nations organization. So if it is true that they started constructing water points and then abandoned them, I think they should be called upon to complete them so that our people can use them. Prime Minister?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I appreciate the matter raised, but I agree that the Honourable Member of Parliament has raised the matter in the House, but I think it is the longer route he has decided to take. But all the same, I will still ask him, notwithstanding action he has taken in the House, to tomorrow morning come in the office. We shall discuss and try to see how faster we can handle these problems as he follows his routes, his long route through the House. Thank you.
Please take the detailed information to the Prime Minister so that he can quickly organize for the UNHCR to complete the water holes. Now, before I invite Honorable Nanyondo, join me in welcoming 3 groups of children, teachers and pupils of Bright Day Boarding School in Kawempe. I don't know where they are. Can you stand up? Bright Day and Boarding. Oh, wow, wow, wow. They're really, really smart. Welcome. Represented by Honorable Munyagwa and Honorable Sempara. Welcome. Also join me, you can sit down. Join me in welcoming pupils and teachers of Trust Education Services of Aivu. Aivu, can you stand up? Where are they? Aivu, please stand up. Oh. Very big group of children represented by Honorable Atiku and Honorable Morino Soru. They are very smart. Welcome. Please sit down. All the way from Aivu. Welcome. The third group is pupils and teachers of Oyam Junior School, Oyam County North, represented by Honorable Charles Engola, Honorable Santa Alum. Where are they? On this side. I'm sure they're also very smart. They're welcome. Very smart indeed. They're welcome. Honorable Nyondo. 2 minutes, please.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I raise on a matter of national importance. I represent Chamswa County, which is a fishing community, and I've received numerous complaints from my constituency where the Uganda Police Marine Unit confiscates fish from the fishermen, giving flimsy reasons like the absence of life jackets in boats. They confiscate fish and extort money from the fishermen. They are saying they don't have life jackets on the boats. I don't think if they take the fish and extort money, they are not giving them life jackets. I wish to pray, Madam Honorable Speaker, that the relevant authorities caution the Marine Police Unit against this behavior, as it will erode confidence in the Uganda Police and stifle the livelihood of the fishing community in Chamswa. I beg to submit.
Can I require the Minister for Internal Affairs to examine the incident in Chamswa, where the police have mishandled to us to be members? We also have a group of the Uganda Association of Artisanal and Small-Scale Miners. I don't know where they are seated. The artisanal, they are there. They are here to witness presentation of their petition. Welcome. Thank you. Honorable Gafabusa.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity. Madam Speaker, I rise on a matter of urgent national importance. Madam Speaker, there is a looming natural disaster in Bundibugyo, in the sub-county of Busaru, in my constituency, Buamba. A large land mass of approximately 2 square kilometers is sinking. I visited the area on Tuesday, and the land has sunk about 3 meters deep. 3 meters. This problem started early this year, and the authorities in the district reported to the Office of the Prime Minister, but the Office of the Prime Minister has not responded. What started small, Madam Speaker, in one village of Bunyankunda has spread now to 4 villages. And now, as we talk, over 30 households are affected, and we have advised them to move away. Where the problem started is now entirely submerged in water. Community access roads have been destroyed, homesteads, crops, and the problem is expanding. When I last visited on Tuesday, I personally observed deep cracks extending as far as another 3. Madam Speaker, my prayers are, one, that government sends immediately experts, especially geologists and meteorologists, to help us understand what is happening. Because Bundibugyo is in the Rift Valley, the Great Western Rift Valley. It could be something to do with tectonism, and we may find ourselves, all of us, sinking. The second one is that the Office of the Prime Minister should immediately respond, because we have written to them, they are not responding. They think there is no problem, but people have nowhere to go, they have nothing to eat, they can't go back to that land. It is very dangerous. I was personally scared. Please respond. I thank you, Madam Speaker. It is very scary.
Right Honourable Prime Minister, I think this is a very, very serious threatening national disaster, especially because of the location of Wamba in the Rift Valley. We may find that the country has sunk. So we really need urgent action, but also to respond to the disaster. Can we have a commitment that you'll send a team there tomorrow or the early next week, because it's quite serious? Prime Minister.
Madam Speaker, it's a shock, of course, to everybody to hear this part of our country is sinking. Again, I want to thank the Member of Parliament of the area. Like I said before, much as action required. Now, whatever action we're going to take cannot stop what is going on. It is true, we cannot, because they themselves could not stop it. But I'm advising that I would advise that they don't keep watching. Instead, they should start moving away, because we don't know how, the development. I think they should start moving away. Perhaps we'll ask our Office of Disaster to begin to think in that line, and that action is going to be taken. However, I once again want to appeal, so that in a matter of cooperation, I want to ask the Member of Parliament again to come to me tomorrow morning. We want to see that, let him bring the copy of the letter, then we shall follow. We shall follow where and who, to whom we exhort, and how fast we can take up the matter. That, I think, is the most practical way we should take tomorrow. Thank you.
Kafuzi. Kafuzi, 2 minutes.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker, for the opportunity. Right Honourable Speaker, about a day or two ago, the President issued a directive in respect of the law on being idle and disorderly. He directed KCCA officials and the police to stop arresting people and charging them under that law. However, Right Honourable Speaker, the law still remains on the status books. People can still be arrested and people can still be charged. And the magistrates are not going to cite the President's directive. They will rely on the evidence either to dismiss or convict. So if this law is irrelevant, and so many other laws are irrelevant, they are archaic, and they have remained on the status books for so long, what is the Attorney General doing about it? My prayer is the Attorney General should be called upon to work together with the law reform to make sure some of these provisions of the law that no longer fit in our times are repealed or amended accordingly. Thank you very much.
The Attorney General should come and update us on when he intends to implement the decisions of the courts, and also lately the decision of the President on a number of offenses that are no longer on our statute books. But also the issue of idle and disorder is not just in Kampala. I think it's countrywide. Attorney General should come and update us as soon as we return from the recess. Yes, Honorable Both.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I thank you for the guidance and the directives on on the idle and disorderly. As a committee, when we first heard of that matter, and here the committee is Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee, we had taken upon ourselves the task that probably now, if you could guide further, if the Attorney General does not come up with it, we shall come and seek leave as a committee to process that amendment. And I had tasked a few members of the committee, Honorable Basalirwa and I think Honorable Jovia, to make so that they process, to be seen that this is a matter that should not exist. So probably if the Attorney General does not come soon, it would be a ground for us to seek for leave, so that it's a very, very small amendment that would be just to delete this other offense. And one time where you get a head of state coming up, that should have been actually the law revision, as he was saying, you know, where the president is the one saying this law here is not very good. I think we need to, yes. So I wanted just to provide that information. I wanted to know from, but anyway, I will find out from Honorable Basalirwa and the other member how far they had gone. But when it comes, we can be able to work together with the Attorney General. Some of these provisions, if we can amend the workout, we could do amendment in one day. But yes, thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
Yes, I think, honourable members, since you have started on it, I think you move with your motion. I'm sure that's one bill which will have no financial implications. Just deleting a part of a law. And there are also others. There are one or two others which the Attorney General has also conveniently forgotten about. We could also handle them, and we delete those parts of the law. Thank you. Honourable Kangwaje, 2 minutes.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I raise on a matter of national importance concerning Isinjiro Ntantamchi Road. It is a matter of national concern, members. Right Honourable Speaker.
It's a matter of grave national concern.
Right Honourable Speaker.
Yes.
Right Honourable Speaker, this very year, April 2019, a company called Wanaik got a contract from UNRA to do some good works on that very road. But since then, Madam Speaker, the road was attended halfway. As I speak, Right Honourable Speaker, Matoke trucks, milk tanks, even passengers as of today, they could not use the road because the rain came heavily and the road was washed away. So the road is too useful and too productive to us. We have only one prayer. Through you, Madam Chair, through you, Madam Speaker, Right Honourable Speaker, would love to get some help from you. You use your office and your powers. You instruct Ministry of Works. In conjunction with UNRA, they see on how they can totally expedite the process on how this road of ours can be helpful to us. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Now, members, the issue of right of access of the population is important. The Minister of Works directed to expeditiously handle the issue of Isingiro and Ntantamuki Road, and also to update us as soon as we return from recess on why the contractor is not maintaining the road and what she intends to do about that lacuna. 8, Honourable Kamateka, 2 minutes.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I rise on a matter of national importance regarding waste disposal and the cleanliness of our towns. Not a new subject, but it continues to be of great concern. But allow me first, Right Honourable Speaker, to congratulate you and this Parliament, the NRM government and the people of Uganda on the just concluded CPC. And also to congratulate you, Right Honourable Speaker, on ascending to the apex of CPA as president. We are truly proud of you, and we heartily congratulate you. Right Honorable Speaker, before CPC, as we debated the motion, we pointed out how important it was that we clean up our towns, especially as these visitors were coming. And indeed, as we had hoped, some of these visitors after the CPC went to some of our tourist destinations, to the Equator, to the Queen Elizabeth National Park. Yesterday you mentioned Ruwero, and the source of the Nile, and to Murchison Falls and other destinations, only to be greeted by heaps of rubbish in the towns. We hoped that as we debated this motion, the Minister of Local Government would pick up the issue and instruct that the towns would be cleaned, but nothing much was done. Let me take the opportunity to appreciate the Kabaka of Uganda, who has instituted the Burungi Bwansi week, as we saw on the television. And this should be replicated all over the country. Right Honorable Speaker, a greater concern is that during this rainy season,
your prayers.
The rubbish washes into the water sources and causes diseases. So Ugandans spend money on treating diseases that are otherwise avoidable. And it also raises child mortality rates. My prayers, Right Honorable Speaker, that the Minister of Local Government instructs all mayors and local administrations to clean up our towns and make sure they keep them clean. That the Minister instructs all local governments to pass bylaws instituting or putting into place Burungi Bwansi campaigns with penalties for those who do not comply. That the performance of mayors all over the country and town clerks be pegged on how clean they keep our towns, among other things. Right Honorable Speaker, we all need a clean environment for our well-being and to enhance tourism and socio-economic development of our nation. I beg to submit.
Thank you, Honorable Kamateka. You have raised a very, very important issue of public health. Can we ask the Minister for Local Government to come and respond to those proposals and tell us the plans he has for keeping our cities clean, our towns clean? That's a chair of local government. Maybe he has got some information.
I think, Madam Speaker, I will expect the members to leave the chairing of the House to you. Because if they respond and try to interrupt, I think that's bad manners. Let's stop that. Madam Speaker, I remember I raised an issue here on the floor of Parliament, particularly issues to do with the irregularities in budgeting, where I said some of these municipalities were allocated monies which were not meant for them. For example, Kira municipality expected a budget of 9 billion, but what was appropriated for them here was only 221 million. So that means in their local revenue collection, which they should have used to do cleanness, what is given for them per quarter is only 31 million. And this is not only in exception. With the Entebbe, Nasana, and other municipalities. We had a meeting, we had the requested Minister of Finance. If this was an error, that the figures they brought to us for appropriation were not the correct ones, our recommendation was for them to bring the right figures, such that maybe we do appropriation amendment. But they said they were going to correct this issue through freezing, because some of the districts and municipalities were given more money than what they expected, what they had approved and sent to Ministry of Finance. So in that case, they said those that had received more money, the monies will be freezed. Those that had received less money should have been, should apply for supplementary. But we argued with them, we told them supplementary can only happen when there is an excess money. So these issues raised by Honorable Kamateka could be a challenge faced by these local governments because of.
Okay, so let us, we had already said the Minister of Local Government should come and respond to the proposals and also to answer whether he has returned the money to those who got less. Local government, as soon as we return from recess, please come and respond. Honorable Kefa, 2 minutes. Kefa Chiwanuka.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, about a year ago, government announced a reorganization of government departments and agencies, which was to result in mergers, abolishing some agencies or scrapping them, returning others to their mother ministry. Honorable Frank Mwebaze, the Minister of Information and National Guidance, announced a list of 53 agencies and government departments which were to be candidates of those mergers. 70 EDs were to lose their jobs, and over 10,000 employees would also lose their jobs, bearing in mind that government is the largest employer. This would save about 1 trillion shillings in salary, wages and rent. Of course, we welcome the move as avoiding duplication, overlap of mandates, and cutting down on waste. However, it occasioned the staff a lot of distress, sleeping and getting up in the morning not knowing whether you'll continue having a job. Banks declined lending to some agencies. Some agencies, investors who would have invested in some agencies got nervous about that move, and some donors up to now are nervous as to whether some of the agencies they are funding will continue existing or not. Madam Speaker, we've been hearing all this or reading about it just in the newspaper. If I'm not mistaken, there has never been
half a minute to conclude.
A briefing to Parliament. My prayer, Madam Speaker, isn't it the time that government briefs Parliament, one, about the time frame for these mergers, two, give an update on the matter, and lastly, how is government managing change, which we know always occasions a lot of stress?
Honourable members, that matter continues to cause anxiety, and it is true the government really has not come. And even some of the proposals for mergers were queer. For instance, the higher education financing scheme is like a bank. I think they were planning to merge it with what? Something completely unrelated to education, unrelated to finance. That was the proposal. Then the government published them and then kept quiet. Prime Minister, when will the country know whether you are merging or not merging or leaving everything as it is so that people can settle down?
Madam Speaker, is it true that this type of action has been taken, but in the midway it is realized that there are more complications? Some agencies actually legally created, some internationally connected, some. So it wasn't become easy to finalize the matter, and therefore, as of now, the cabinet has asked the Attorney General to guide in certain areas before this matter is completely finalized. I think the House should be a bit patient with us. We have also found some difficulties in implementing what we wanted to do because of some of these problems I've said. Thank you.
I know you want time to complete what you, but you know, I can't imagine if the government has failed to bring the laws they propose in the State of the Nation. When would they bring all those acts for repeal? Many of them are by act of Parliament. I think you'll bring here like 30 bills to repeal, then So what does the public hear from you? You still intend to merge, but you are asking the Attorney General to help you how to merge or not to merge. Honorable Bothajo.
Madam Speaker, as the member stated, this is causing a lot of anxiety. And you've heard from the Prime Minister actually causing more anxiety by saying actually there is no merger, but there is a merger. We are waiting for the Attorney General to guide. I think it would be, through you, Right Honorable Speaker, that the government comes out clearly. There would be about a minimum of 53 pieces of legislation. You touch every statutory body, there's a law that governs it. You want to merge them haphazardly, you'll get into all troubles. They have running contracts, they have international obligations, they have international relations. So some of these things needed thorough study before undertaking that omnibus. And I believe that the intentions of government in so doing the merger is very good, but I'm sure that they are going to meet a lot of legal challenges, even procedure. And the Prime Minister was, I don't want to say he was shy to say there is no merger, but I think he fell short of that only to put the situation to calm. There's interrelation. Those who are working in those agencies, they can't access loans. They are being seen that any day they are going to be thrown out. There's no, and we risk losing more resources, because when people say this is the last supper, there's going.
No, Prime Minister, I think the country wants a clear statement. Are you merging or are you not merging? For instance, if a body has entered into a contract for 10 years, then after 3 years you are no longer there. There's a breach. Who is going to meet that? You guys.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. First of all, I want to correct Honorable Member to imply that I have been shy. I have never been shy in my life, and I intended not to be shy anyway. So that statement, I think he can. I will not ask him to withdraw, but I let him do it in his own time, at his own way, because I am not going to be shy. Madam, I think I made my position clear that effort has started to merge. That is clear, and it is still there because we have not withdrawn as a government. And whether we shall withdraw or not also, we are not sure. But I said we have asked the Attorney General to advise us legally, because we have run into legal problems which we never anticipated before. Therefore, I also pray that the House be patient a bit with us. This I said, whether it is part of the shyness or what, I don't know. But Madam, again, I want to repeat that I appeal to the House to take us, give us a bit of time. When the Attorney General advises, then we shall come back to tell the House what other steps are we taking. Are we withdrawing or not? That one shall come later. Thank you, Madam.
So we are going the long route. Honorable Katoto. Honorable Katoto, 2 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. First of all, I would like to apologize to the Prime Minister that I will not take what you are saying that I come to your office again. Madam Speaker, I raise on the matter of national importance, whereby the people of Katerera County and Rubirizi district at large were hit by a storm last night. Many houses were swept. The banana plantations, they are gone. I think this is due to the effect of spilling over from Bundibujo because we are also near them. But in most cases, Madam Speaker, we come here and lament. But what goes through our minds is that maybe the ministry is corrupt in nature because you report the district's rights, but you hear that even those constituencies which have never got any catastrophe receive trailers of rice, receive trailers of beans, receive trailers of iron sheets, when actually, Madam Speaker, I remember last time I had to enter my pocket to support those people. So I think, Madam Speaker, through your powers, they should investigate the ministry and investigate. Because it is too much. Last time, I think I spent like 10 million assisting my people because it is like a wave. It comes from Bundibujo down from National Park and sweeps away the houses. But when you come here and talk, the ministry over there, you record it down and pile, then after they take to those constituencies they like. So, Madam Speaker, my prayer is that let at least the ministry this time at least feel shy and take something to the people of Uganda.
You've made your point. Half a minute to conclude.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Again, it is not my constituency that was affected. It cut across the constituency of Munyaruguru, where Magambo people were also affected. So my prayers is that before we finish the recess, the ministry should go on the ground and at least take something to the people of Katerera and Rubirizi as general. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, honourable members. Prime Minister's office is directed to go to Katerera and Rubirizi districts to assess the issues there and also handle the emergencies arising from the disasters of nature which have affected those areas. And give us a report at the end of the recess. Prime Minister? Yes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Again, I want to regret that for this. But, Madam Speaker, actually the whole country is facing some disaster, one kind or the other. The whole country, not only one or two others. However, it is true that as disaster occur, immediately there is a standing procedure that the cow of any district is a chairman of a committee, disaster committee, district disaster committee. So that the cow creates this committee comprised of all these technical people in the district to move to the area affected and work out how much is required in terms of destruction and so on. That technical report must be there. Whenever I stand here, I always remind colleagues, and I'm doing so to say at the same time even now. Even my colleague, Honorable from, from Katoto, is reminded that in fact he should talk this afternoon, even after he should go and talk to his cow if they haven't done it. Let them do it. All these reports we are compiling, and it is these reports we also go to seek for funds if we don't have money. And always disaster has no money. The only way is for disaster to happen before we get the money. So I think there's no group of section of the population in the government is against what is happening. Or it's not nothing. There's nothing like that. We have to follow procedure. We have to follow procedure. Nobody has invited the this disaster. Nobody is invited. But we have to follow procedure so that we have a proper, to action properly. That is the information I want to say. Otherwise, I'm sorry, Madam, for what has happened. But we have no way to stop disaster. Thank you.
Prime Minister, I think he's saying that they have written in the past and there was no response. So I think you should check whether indeed the people of Katerera wrote and no action was taken. Rubirizi wrote no action. I think you should take an interest in that. Whether they already made the complaints and no one took that's what he's complaining about. No. Oh, okay, Prime Minister.
So once again, I want Honorable back in my office tomorrow, so that, but not to me. This office is big. Let him come to my office. Be another shorter route, which I have always advised.
Honourable members, go to the general. Don't go to the small people. Honourable members, as I invite Honourable Tayewa, join me in welcoming members of Mapendano Sacco. Is that you? From Mukono Municipality. Stand up. Represented by Honourable Nambose and Honourable Peace Kusasira. You are welcome. I'm sure the Minister for Cooperatives will be happy to see an organized group like that one. Honourable Tayewa, 2 minutes quickly.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I'm raising on an issue of national importance regarding our people who are traveling abroad. Recently, I was passing by the Chinese embassy. I found a line by 6 a.m. The line was snaking along all those roads. Then someone who knew me stopped me and said, Honorable, we have a problem. These days we have to sleep here, or you pay people to sleep here to book for you a space for submitting your visa application. Then I went ahead, I asked a few people. I found the Right Honorable Speaker, it's a very, very big problem for our traders to get visas. For Egypt, Right Honorable Speaker, you need a certificate of good conduct. And this is a country whose livelihood starts from Uganda, because the source of River Nile is in Uganda. You need a certificate of good conduct to enter an African country. America does not ask for it, UK does not ask for it, but our African brothers. Right Honorable Speaker, Turkey, you spend around 3 months. Some of us here might not know because of our passports and our status, but your people down there, the traders, are doing badly. My prayer, Right Honorable Speaker, this being a sensitive matter and appreciating government for building diplomatic ties with several countries, is to request our government to engage these countries to see on behalf of our Ugandan citizens how they can be helped to easily get visas to these nations, because we are...
Yeah, honourable members, I think that the Minister of Internal Affairs should come here. We have a debate on this issue, because he may not know which countries are mistreating our people. Let him come, we inform him from here, then he goes to address them. So as soon as we start from recess, the Minister of Foreign Affairs should come here to inform the people of Uganda how the visa issues will be managed with different countries. Item 3.
Item 3, statements by ministers. A, on action taken on the prayers contained in the petition by the Federation of Medical Interns.
Minister of Health.
Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members of Parliament, allow me to once again thank you for inviting me to make yet another statement on the issue of interns. This may be the third statement that I am making in this Parliament on the issue of interns. Right Honorable Speaker, I will start by defining who interns are, and then I will respond to the issues they raised. Medical interns are health workers who have completed their undergraduate training in the medical field from various universities within or outside the country. And they include medical doctors, dental surgeons, nurses, midwives, and pharmacists. The objective of internship is to allow medical interns undergo a supervised training to turn theoretical knowledge that they have acquired during undergraduate training into practical clinical skills in preparation for joining the health workforce. Internship is a mandatory and practical part of medical or health training that aims at providing the intern with practical professional skills as a prerequisite for legal and professional registration, independence to practice, and employment in the health sector. The 2019-20 cohort has since raised several concerns about various aspects of the current internship training, and I would like to respond to the issues as follows. The first was rotation across the disciplines. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, medical interns have been complaining about the revised rotation during their internship training. And the complaint is the 3 months in each of the 4 disciplines as opposed to the 6 months in 2 major disciplines. From the onset of training medical interns, Right Honorable Speaker, when Uganda started training medical doctors, internship in Uganda was 6 months rotation, 1 in a surgical discipline, another 6 months in a medical discipline for a period of 1 year. However, in 2019, this was temporarily changed to 3 months rotation in each of the 4 disciplines as a trial, with the assumption that obtaining skills in all the disciplines would enable the medical doctors to be able to work in a health center comfortably and with confidence. However, this has not been the case. At the training centers, a lot of gaps with a 3-month rotation was observed, and the supervisors advised the professional regulatory councils and the Ministry of Health that this short period of rotation does not give interns adequate exposure to learn the practical skills in each of the 4 disciplines. Because when you go to a ward, the first 1 month you're getting used to the environment. The second month you're beginning to pick the skills, and then you're leaving. So it turned out that most medical officers that were graduates of this, when posted to health center force, for example, could not even conduct simple surgical procedures or properly manage some medical conditions. So after 10 years of observation, in the best interest of patients and the interns themselves, it was recommended that the Ministry of Health reverts to the old rotation of 6 months each in a medical and a surgical discipline. This will give interns time to acquire the skills and confidence to manage most of the common conditions in the country, especially in the rural health facilities where they do not have specialists to consult immediately when they are faced with a difficult position. And this position was also endorsed by the Interministerial Committee meeting of the 9th April 2018 that was held with Ministry of Education. There is overwhelming evidence that a medical officer who undergoes a 6-month rotation can work and manage adequately the disease conditions in any part of the country as required by the Ministry of Health. Right Honorable Speaker, allow me to break down the rotations of the interns according to the respective categories of the medical interns. Within the 12 months of internship, the following rotations take place. The intern doctors shall rotate in 2 of the 4 disciplines of pediatrics, child health, internal medicine, obstetrics, and gynecology, and general surgery. The duration of the rotation shall be 5 months for each of the major disciplines and 1 in a minor medical or surgical discipline. The choice of the disciplines to undertake depends on the intern. 2 is the intern graduate nurses. They shall rotate in all the 4 disciplines of pediatrics and child health, internal medicine, obstetrics and gynecology, and the duration of the rotation shall be 3 months for each of the disciplines. For the graduate midwives, they will rotate in 5 of the mandatory specialties of adolescent sexual reproductive health, family planning and gynecology, postnatal and young child health, neonatal special care unit, antenatal clinic, and the ART clinic for 2 months each, and in the labor wards and operating theaters for 4 months. While intern pharmacists rotate in 3 mandatory specialties, with 1 of the 3 elective specialties as follows: hospital pharmacy 6 months, dispensing and compounding, pharmaceutical care including in the HIV clinic and cancer department, the National Drug Authority where they learn pharmaceutical law, policy and regulation for 2 months, in the national medical stores or joint medical stores where they learn pharmaceutical and supply chain management for 2 months, in pharmaceutical factories where they undertake production for 1 month, community pharmacy where they do veterinary pharmacy and traditional herbal and pharmaceutical products for 1 month. Then the intern dental surgeons rotate in 4 specialties, 3 months in each: oral and maxillofacial surgery, oral radiology, oral medicine, pathology and periodontology, and conservative dentistry and orthodontic and pedodontic. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, I wish to emphasize that this change was recommended by the specialist clinicians who train the interns. Interns are under apprenticeship and therefore they cannot dictate their own training curriculum and methods. The second issue was on the request for salaries in appropriate salary scale. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, medical interns are not civil servants because they have not been recruited through the formal recruitment system and therefore they cannot earn a salary. Interns are still undergoing apprenticeship training, after which those who qualify can register as a health worker and obtain a practicing license in order to be able to apply for formal recruitment. It is a requirement that you produce a registration certificate and a practicing license for you to be recruited into service. The civil servants have a salary scale because they are recruited into public service, either by Public Service Commission or Health Service Commission or the District Service Commission. Their salary scales are accordingly indicated in their appointment letters with the corresponding terms and conditions of service. Ministry of Health pays medical interns allowances to facilitate their apprenticeship. The current allowance paid to a medical intern is what is available in the Ministry of Health medium-term expenditure framework, taking into consideration the very high number of medical interns. This year we have 1,170 interns. The total amount of money paid for internship program over the years, the total amount of money appropriated to the health sector over the years is as follows. 2017-18, the health sector received 9.3 billion. 2018-19, it remained the same, 9.3 billion. 19-20, the amount has been raised to 11.4 billion. As seen from these figures, the increment has been minimal, whereas the number of interns continue to increase. In 2017-18, we had 970 interns. 18-19, we had 1,045 interns, and to date we have 1,170 interns. These numbers will continue to increase as the numbers of universities increase and the medical courses also increase. An intern, Right Honorable Speaker, is paid a gross allowance of Uganda shillings 940,000, of which 600,000 is allowances, 250,000 is for meals, and Uganda shillings 90,000 is for accommodation. Unfortunately, this money is also taxed for pay as you earn of Uganda shillings 184,000, leaving a net allowance to an intern of 756,000. Our request to URA for no taxation did not obtain a favorable answer. For interns to be paid better, there is need to address 5 important policy issues which have been captured in the interns policy document that is currently before Cabinet. And these issues are: number 1, regulation of enrollment into university and hosting of the internship program. Right Honorable Speaker, the numbers of interns enrolled into universities is not a mandate of the health sector. 2, the interns are still undergoing training, and yet they are. Perhaps, preferably, they would have been better off under Ministry of Education because they are still undergoing training. So these are policy issues that we are yet to discuss. 2 is increased financing for internship. The money has remained stagnant over the years, and yet the numbers increase, and the health sector is expected to continue training these interns. 3 is the quality of the training. Previously, I have clearly brought out to this August House that the intern centers have remained stagnant at 39. The specialists to train the interns are not even there. We are not recruiting new people. You find one supervisor supervising over 50 interns. The product that we are getting out is not of the required quality. It is an issue for discussion. The 4th is, of course, availability, and I have mentioned this issue. The specialists are not there. And then lastly, of course, is their welfare, accommodation, and meals. Because the accommodation that were in the intern centers were only meant to accommodate a certain number of interns. Those numbers have gone over and above. Right Honorable Speaker, on the issue of accommodation again raised by the interns have raised concerns over inadequate accommodation in some training centers. It is not new. On behalf of the Ministry of Health, I would like to clarify that until 1990, medical internship was only for medical doctors and dental surgeons, and that was what the structure was meant for. And then the medical doctors were only being trained by Makerere University. So the numbers were usually less than 300. The internship training sites were able to provide accommodation and meals. Since then, the number of cadres of health workers that have joined internship have increased, and these include the graduate nurses, the midwives, and the pharmacists. In addition, many new medical schools have sprung up, releasing over 1,000 graduates per year that require internship. The hospitals that provide training are limited in terms of infrastructure and capacity, and are currently overwhelmed with the numbers that are being deployed to them to manage. To address this, an accommodation allowance has been incorporated into the monthly allowance that is given to interns. They receive 90,000 shillings per month for accommodation. As I conclude, Right Honorable Speaker, allow me to inform this August House that the Ministry of Health has developed a draft internship policy and submitted it to Cabinet for consideration. Furthermore, as Ministry of Health would like to clarify that we do not determine nor control the number of students admitted for the various medical courses in the university, as this is not within our mandate. We have been having discussions with Minister of Education, and we are still having discussions together with Education and Ministry of Finance to consider the best way to comfortably handle the big numbers. In the meantime, we have advised the current group of interns that those who are interested in doing their internship should report to the centers where they have been deployed to start their internship training program. The Uganda Medical Internship Committee will carry out regional induction training for all the medical interns in order to orient them on the internship training in October 2019. I thank you.
Thank you, Honour Members. I don't know whether we really should debate this. I wanted to send it to the Committee on Health. I wanted to send it to the Committee on Health so that they can first invite the petitioners and give them this response. Then they can report to us. Then, but only just one thing I wanted from you, Honour Minister. I'm a bit alarmed. You know, this degree is Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery. But when you say that there are people who, after graduating, cannot conduct surgery, really? How did they graduate? Because you say in your statement that some of them cannot conduct surgery.
Right, Honorable Speaker. The internship program is where you learn the practical skills. In the medical school, you are learning the theory. So when you go to learn the practical skills under the specialist, that is where you are taught how to operate. You first have to learn the anatomy of the body to know how to, where the vessels pass, where the nerves pass. Then when you go to do internship, you learn the practical skills. And that is why we are insisting that the internship training program needs serious revisiting.
Now, what is in the degree, what is that part of surgery? What is it? It's the Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery. That's what makes a doctor. So where is that surgery which they graduate with? The degree is Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery, isn't it? So where is the surgery if they cannot perform even on internship? Why did they qualify in surgery if they cannot even?
Right, Honorable Speaker. Right, Honorable Speaker. What I am saying is, for the 5 years of training, you are learning theory. And I am a medical doctor. You are learning theory and you are observing what is happening. The rotations that are carried out on the ward, they observe what the seniors are doing. When you go for internship, you are allowed to do, because you get a temporary practicing certificate from the medical councils. Then you start using the skills that you are learning from the seniors, you are allowed to practice. That is when you learn the surgery.
It is a misnomer to say you have a degree in medicine and surgery.
It is not a misnomer. You have the degree. That is why there is internship. Internship is the practical part. But anyway, we inherited that nomenclature from the British.
Okay. Okay, just three comments only. Agava. Agava, quickly. 2 minutes, 2 minutes.
Right, Honorable Speaker. No. I'm surprised and disappointed. The minister is a doctor, and she's a trained doctor. Doctors, the students, those doing bachelors of medicine and surgery, while they study, they do the surgeries. They study on cadavers. The cadavers give them the practical skills to do surgery. They cannot wait. Order, members.
Order.
The students cannot wait to do practical skills after the 5 years of study. They start on cadavers. They do practice on cadavers. What they do on it...
Honour members, Parliament is about listening to one another. Please, take your seats,
What happens during internship, the students...
Order.
Right Honourable Speaker, what happens during internship, the students are exposed to senior doctors on rounds, seeing patients on rounds. But they do surgeries while they study. They study with cadavers. The cadavers are dead bodies which are given to them to study with, which have the anatomy.
Honour members, you are getting impatient with one another.
Right Honourable Speaker, it is not correct that medical students, unlike other students, lawyers can get the skills in internship, teachers can get the skills in internship, medical students get skills as they study. We have the Uganda Medical and Dental Practitioners Council. They can never allow to accredit an institution that does not expose students to practical skills while they study. So I am surprised that the minister makes a statement to say that the students get skills during internship. Internship is at the end, it's like the 6th year. The students go through practical skills as they study, monitored by the National Council for Education, monitored by the Uganda Medical and Dental Practitioners Council. What they do in the year of internship is to go on rounds with specialists to see patients. Those are not the practical skills. They already know how to do surgery, they already know how to treat people, but they experience sicknesses on the rounds. Thank you.
Honour Chekamondo, Fungaro Olanya. We are there, we are in Kapchola.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Order.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the information I want to give is...
Order.
Madam Speaker, when you look at the experience we have in the hospitals, from the time Ministry of Health was put together with Ministry of Education, there is a problem in the Ministry of Health and as far as training is concerned. So if we want our people to be really the way we want, health should be separated so that they handle their things the way health expects it. But when you look at it today, health is being handled the way education section is done. Because for us, we go train and go for school practice. But for
just complete your statement.
I just want to look at the other side of the nurses. When the numbers are big, they train and they say you are injecting. What they use is they improvise like we improvise in education. So they bring a tomato to train on it. But when it goes to the real training, even today when you find somebody wants to put the cannula, it becomes difficult because they don't get the practicals. But during that time when health was alone, if somebody misses the practicals for 2 weeks, he doesn't continue. But this time it can even go for 1 month, 2 months, and somebody comes and copies the notes and passes. But in the actual sense, the practical is not there. So my prayer is, health should go back and remain as health, and education remains as education. Thank you.
Fungare, just 2 minutes, and then Olanya.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Honourable members, I would like to thank the Minister first.
Order.
The question being handled here is a question of welfare. In my understanding, the person who raised the question and was seeking for answers was talking about welfare, not training. Whereas the matter of training is also important, what the minister has given us here is diversionary. It is important, it should be handled separately. The concerns of the interns is about welfare, accommodation, food, allowance. Just talk as welfare. Now, who should provide the welfare? Ministry of Health or Ministry of Education? Madam Speaker, The training of the doctors at the interns level has an element of service delivery already. Whereas we agree that there could be some doctors, interns who are not able to deliver their work. But if you go to Mulago Hospital, you go to Lacho, to Gulu, to Arua, you find interns actually running the hospital in where they are put. So the link between training and service delivery is where it provides the responsibility to the Ministry of Health to give a little bit of pay for the service rendered. But the Ministry of Education should bear the responsibility primarily of welfare during training. Okay.
But before, we also want to hear about the court order. On that petition, there was an issue of a court order. Minister didn't say anything about it. Yes.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I wanted to inform Honourable Fungaro that the interns did not raise the issue of welfare loan. The other issue of contention is the issue of rotation, because we are proposing 6 months, 2 disciplines, as opposed to the 3 months that they were doing and the 4 disciplines. So that is also an issue that they raised. Thank you.
Speaker, my submission here is, health is very important. If the Minister of Health has recognized some deficits in training, in the output of our doctors and surgeons, let that one be addressed on case-by-case basis. But for sure, there are some interns, when they come out, they do the work very well. We need to improve the training and take the concerns of the Minister seriously. But the question of welfare, rotation, should be handled. Training is training. Ministry of Education should be given all the capacity to regulate training. And the National Council of Higher Education, whether it is engineering, like we have oil engineering, we have now aeronautic engineering because of our aeroplanes, we have sensitive engineerings. Those are training like medicine. So we should bring them back under the Ministry of Education, but the welfare question at those sensitive and long time-taking intensive, which is part of the training, should bear some costs. Where services are rendered during training, Ministry of Health, you cannot run away completely. Put something there.
Honorable Anya, 2 minutes and then Mbwa.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, the Minister stated that the interns are paid wherever the money is available in the ministry. Right Honourable Speaker, I look at this statement as not all that very serious. Wherever the ministry is budgeting every year, they normally include the budget for the interns. And Parliament every year is passing the budget for the ministry, including the interns' budget. Therefore, it's not all that very serious by saying they are paid wherever the money is available in the ministry. Yet, you normally budget for those training. Right Honourable Speaker, we need to understand every year the interns are going in for a strike. Can we find the lasting solutions? Why is it every year they must go for a strike and you come with a statement? Every year, time and again, time and again. Right Honourable Speaker, we need to bring this to an end. The ministry find the lasting solutions to stop unnecessary strike. Health is very important for the country. Thank you.
Nombote Kamwa.
Thank you so much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, while the Minister was trying to describe an intern, she even included the nurses, the clinic officers, but when she was talking about the welfare, yes, she only concentrated on the medical doctor interns. But the point I want to bring to the minister, to the attention of the minister, is that we are suffering. Some of us who are having health institutions, the government hospitals are charging us a lot of money for students to carry out their interns. The clinic officers, the nurses, instead of accepting them, for us we don't want to be given that they should be given allowances, but they charge as far as 200, 300 per student. So, Right Honorable Speaker, my prayer is, now that you've said that the Committee of Health is going to handle, could the Minister also tell us why government hospitals are also cheating us when we are giving a service? I thank you so much.
Okay, honourable members, as I indicated, let the Committee of Health interrogate this statement, invite the interns, and invite other witnesses if necessary, and give us a report, because this was just an answer to the petition, and then they can come back to us. But Minister, when you said you have been here 3 times, I've checked, and every session there's a problem. So you must deal with it. If there was no problem, they would not be coming here. We have checked, they came in the 2nd session, they came in the 3rd session, they have come in the 4th session. So there is a problem which you need to deal with. Okay, honourable members, we'll go to item 3B, but in the meantime, allow me to welcome teachers and pupils of Modernity Day and Boarding Nursery and Primary School in Busiki. Are you the ones there? Welcome, stand up. You can see they're quite smart. They're represented by Honorable Akamba and Honorable Mariam Naigaga. Welcome. I'll let you know who the other children are on the other side. We have another group of children of Good Hope Foundation, Muhoro, in Kagadi. Are you the ones there? The young people on this side, quite smart, represented by Honorable Tinka Simire and Honorable Chomohendo. Thank you. 3B.
Item 3B, on the report of the verification team to London, United Kingdom, to resolve the boundary dispute between Tororo County and West of Dama County.
Minister of Lands. Minister of Lands. The Minister of Lands.
Right Honorable Speaker, as you directed yesterday, I went and shared with the Senior Minister, who has traveled out on state duty, but she told me to inform you, Right Honorable and colleagues, that His Excellency the President, because he has been chairing meetings, please let me report, chairing meetings, the members of Tororo district said the report is going to be perused by the cabinet to have the input. After that, it's all going to come and be presented to the whole house.
Order. Point of order.
Procedure. Yes, sir, Nyakechi.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I am standing here painfully after listening to the statement made by the Minister, Honorable Persis Namuganza, Princess, that this issue of Tororo has been an issue that has been persistent for a very long time. If I can recall, over 30 years now. 30, because my predecessor was here for almost 15 years, and then the Honorable Etiang was here for, this issue started when he was there for almost 10 years. If I put together, it comes to almost 30 years. Madam Speaker, is it procedurally correct for Ministry of Lands to intentionally keep dodging this, continue dodging us, and continue citing the name of the President each time the issue of the boundary and the production of the London map is brought? Is it procedurally for them to continue citing the name of the President? Is it that they are no longer ministers in this country that can do their work and guide the President? Is this a sign of incompetence? What is it, Madam Honorable Speaker?
Information.
Yes, information. Madam
Thank you very much, my colleague, for giving me room. And Madam Speaker, I just want to bring the attention of this House to the issues that have been raised here now more than 5 times, when the Minister of Lands has time and again promised that after 1 week I will come and bring a report, after 2 weeks I will come and bring a report. Madam Speaker, on the 22nd of August, we had a debate about this issue on the floor here. That debate took 42 minutes with many colleagues responding. The minister requested for a fortnight. The fortnight lapsed on the 5th of September. Madam Speaker, it is unfortunate that the minister is not around today, either by her choice or design. But we have the minister among Honorable Betty, who led the delegation with us to London. But Madam Speaker, in the House here are ministers of lands, including Honorable Musumba. I want to lay on the floor of this House a photograph of the members who were with us in London, including Honorable Musumba. I want to lay on the floor of Parliament. He should be in position to come and tell us what happened. Madam Speaker, I also want to take this opportunity to lay on the floor today the map that we got in London for perusal and verification. And I would request that at the time the minister, if she so chooses to come and present a map here, she should dispute the map I am laying on table here today. Madam Speaker, this issue, as Honorable Nyatech has said, is actually a very big problem to us in Tororo. As you may recall, that we lost over 4 billion shillings was returned back to the center because it was not absorbed in the Tororo County, in Tororo District, and Tororo County to be very specific. Madam Speaker, today as we speak, you time and again watch on TV that the council in Tororo cannot sit. And if it is to sit, it sits with a few members of West Budama and guarded heavily to deter members of Tororo County from participating in those meetings. So, Madam Speaker, it is my prayer that it may not be the minister to solve this issue, but she should come here, including Honorable Musumba, who is here, to tell us what he saw in this map, whether Tororo municipality is in West Budama or it is in Tororo County. The decision that was taken when we sat in the State House, after this similar map was presented to us by Minister of Lands at the State House, the decision was taken that this district is going to be divided into 2 based on the colonial county boundaries. And the Minister of Lands presented their maps. But today we are here on a request that was made by none other than my colleague Honorable Toboth, who said that, Your Excellency, the Commissioner Minister of Lands and Survey, who has presented that map, is a Muteso. And the PS, Minister of Lands and Survey, who is a Muteso. So one of them facilitated the other to go downtown to generate this. And his request, Madam Speaker, was very clear. His request was, they agreed to present a business class ticket sponsored by West Budama to a government official to go to the UK and cross-check whether the maps presented by Lands are the same maps that the Muzungu, our colonial master, took back to the UK. And fortunately today, I say that what was presented by Minister of Lands here is the same thing we got in the UK. But I don't know why Lands is not coming out to tell this country, to tell the world that Tororo municipality is in West Budama. And we are ready to agree. If it is in West Budama, we surrender. But if it is in Tororo County, let's resolve this matter once and for all. A committee of parliament with a report that we have already handled this matter and a resolution taken that the municipality is in Tororo County. So the information I wanted to give you has taken long, but that is what I thought you should build on to conclude with the presentation you're making.
Thank you, Honorable Angura, for the information.
I think close.
But I want to say that I expected at least one of the ministers present here to at least lay that map on this table for further perusal of this House. That is the humble request I had thought the minister would be doing. Like Honorable Musumba is looking at me. You went there. What did you see, Honorable Musumba, really? Tell this House, tell us what you saw. At least put it on record. What did you see, Honorable, my brother? We have shed tears, Madam Speaker. We have eaten rats. We have eaten rats that there are no more rats in the bushes of Tororo, Madam Speaker. Now we might be forced to eat other things. Maybe crocodile, but even there are no rivers in Tororo for us to eat crocodiles. Honorable Namuganza, please stand up, be a minister that you are, use your powers and produce that map. Just lay it here. That's all we need from you. Lay it here. Be a minister that you are. You have the instruments.
Can I ask Minister Musumba, who was in London, to tell us what happened?
Madam Speaker and honorable members, it is true that I was in London, and I was in that office where they archived all the maps of the colonies that the Commonwealth, that Britain had at the time. But Madam Speaker, the matter we are discussing now is at the highest level, both in the ministry and, if I can be allowed to continue, please. The matter we are discussing now is at the highest level, both in the ministry and in the government. I want to pray because I was at that office where research was being done, but Madam Speaker, I was not part of that delegation. No, I had gone to do I was head of a delegation to do research on a different complaint. But we were in the same environment, so I went and said hello to my colleagues. I was not part of that delegation. I was there, but I was not part of that delegation. That is the fact.
Point of order, Madam Speaker. Point of order.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I'm rising on a point of procedure now that Honorable Frederick Angura has submitted a map, now that it appears the debate is issuing, Madam Speaker, for the truth to be known, Honorable Angura mentioned my name. He was in that delegation. We're with him. And I want to thank you, Honorable Isaac Musumba. You are a candid lawyer. I was waiting to fault you, but you're very honest. You were in London, but not part of the delegation. And Madam Speaker, the last time this matter came up, I would want to request that another time when this matter comes up, we the people who come from Tororo, we need the time to give each side of the story. You give us sufficient time, maybe 20 minutes, because you will have to support or not support on the basis of the facts. Honorable Angura has made serious allegations about what I said, even when previously I denied that I did not say it was from. Actually, the debate before the president was not where a municipality lies. Anybody who is coming from Tororo would not say that. You would say that Tororo, the current Tororo, was called Budama. They are talking about one map. We did not only get one map from London. Madam Speaker, we had several from 1920s to 1958, 59, I believe that is of 1959. We cannot conveniently choose to escalate a matter that we can find a solution for. Madam Speaker, in this parliament, in the 9th parliament, the issue of Tororo County was resolved. And I want to state on the record that as we speak now, Tororo County was divided into 2 counties. That for record in 2015. And in 2006, the issue of the mapping and what was resolved where Tororo County, where a municipality is. I stated a letter by Minister Tatis Kabwejere. There is also a Commissioner Boji, surveys, gave the letter to Honorable Kanya. All those are stated. What was before, what was in our contention before the president was the size of Tororo. Has it ever grown from 1923, 27 when it was a township to now when it is a municipality? In terms of size, the one who was presenting said the same Tororo, the dot, which was there, has never grown into West Budama or into Tororo County. Truth be said, I raised a point, a procedure point, and I said, if the person is saying that, then he doesn't have the map of Tororo. And the president said, if you can get evidence that the Tororo has grown, it became a municipality in 1984. And then in 1985, that's when it was effected. Madam Speaker, we need the time to debate this matter. And whether Tororo municipality has never grown, those who are choosing that decide where Tororo municipality is, what we used to call Tororo County.
Now, Honourable members,
the East Buda.
Honourable, I don't want to interrupt you, but there is no motion on this floor about that debate. What we want is for government to tell us what were the findings so that people matters put to rest. That's all. That we just want the findings. There is no motion for debate on a district or a county information. What did you find? That's all we want. That's all we want.
Procedure, Madam Speaker.
It's now 2 years.
Procedure, Madam
People
Speaker.
didn't even conduct elections at LC1. We are going for general election, and the government is happy to leave uncertainty.
Procedure, Madam. Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we are celebrating this next week the 57th independence of this country. And this case is a testimony of failure of national integration. Madam Speaker, on order paper.
We are not debating anything.
Yeah, we're not debating.
We are not debating.
It's
We
a
want information.
procedure. Madam Speaker, on the order paper, one of the businesses to follow is the report from the Committee of Local Government and Public Service on our earlier motion on regional governments. As far as I can remember, Tororo is the headquarters of Bukedi.
Now, Honour Member, I think you are escalating the injury. Now, the Minister of Lands, where has she gone? You know, I don't know whether the cabinet is going to alter what was found there. Cabinet is going to sit to say this is not the right map or what. I don't know. What's the cabinet discussing? A map is a map. I don't know what the cabinet is doing. Anyway, I'm giving up the 28th of October. When we open, we want information. If you don't bring it, we are not going to handle your business, Minister of Lands. Item 4.
Item 4, presentation of papers. A report on action taken by government on the resolutions of the 10th Parliament from June 2016 to March 2019.
Right, Prime Minister.
Right, Honorable Speaker. The aim of this report is to update Parliament on actions taken by government in regard to parliamentary resolutions. And this is in line with the Rule 2017 of our Rules of Procedure. The report outlines the actions taken by different government ministries in regard to resolutions and recommendations passed by Parliament between June 2016 and March 2019. During this period, Parliament considered and adopted 107 resolutions that required government action. Government has implemented 87 of these resolutions, translating to 81.3% implementation rate. 20 resolutions are still pending government actions, which relates to 18.7%. Some of the pending resolutions require legislation and policy formulation. And the government is in the process. Madam Speaker, there are a lot of interruptions here.
Honour members, the Prime Minister is addressing the House, please. Don't conduct other meetings.
Some of the pending resolutions require legislation and policy formulation, and the government is in a process of initiating the necessary legislation and policies. Right Honourable Speaker, I wish to inform Parliament that government actions on resolutions relating to accountability will be addressed in the Treasury Memorandum, which is presented to this August House. By the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development. As a way forward, action taken reports on resolutions of Parliament will also be presented to Parliament annually. Resolutions of Parliament which are pending government actions will be handled in the subsequent reports. Government success in implementing resolutions of Parliament is so far commendable and is attributed to government timely response to parliamentary directives. It is therefore my pleasure to present this report before this August House and reiterate the government's commitment to deliver timely responses to Parliament as we work together in building these great nations. I therefore like to lay the report on the table, which reads, Report on action taken by government on resolutions of the 10th Parliament from June 2016 to March 2019. I beg to lay.
Thank you very, very much, Right Honourable Prime Minister. This is a new chapter in the relationship between the Parliament and the Executive. I think it is very, very commendable. Please keep it up. The reports will be distributed to all the committees so that they can study the responses by the government. Thank you very much. 4B.
Item 4B, Public Service Commission Annual Report for the financial year 2018-2019.
Minister of Public Service.
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay on table the Public Service Commission Annual Report for the financial year 2018-2019.
Members, the report is sent to the Commission of Public Service and Local Government for perusal and report back. Honour members, join me in welcoming pupils of Chigezi High School. Chigezi, where are they? Can you stand up? Chigezi and the primary school. They are really smart. Welcome. Represented by Honorable Aja Maria Yanga and Honorable Catherine Damira. Welcome. Petition.
Petition of the Uganda Session of Artisanal and Small-Scale Miners, the Ecological Christian Organization, Transparency International, and the Africa Center for Energy and Mineral Policy over the unlawful eviction, exploitation, abuse, neglect, and mistreatment.
Honorable Mujuke, Commissioner.
Thank you so much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I'm moving under Rule 30 of the Rules of Procedure. Right Honourable Speaker, this is a humble petition of the Uganda Association of Artisanal and Small-Scale Miners, the Ecological Christian Organization, Transparency International, and the Africa Center for Energy and Mineral Policy over the unlawful eviction, exploitation, abuse, neglect, and mistreatment. Right Honourable Speaker, your humble petition is comprised of landlords, tenants, artisanal and small-scale gold miners, and traders under the umbrella the Uganda Association for Artisanal and Small-Scale Miners. It is supported by civil societies, like already mentioned above. Right Honourable Speaker, your humble petitioners contend that the government has refused or ignored or neglected to regulate the small-scale and artisanals, exposing them to abuse, exploitation, displacement from practicing their business and profession, which is guaranteed under Article 40, Clause 2 of the Constitution. Your humble petitioners, Right Honourable Speaker, further aver that their rights...
Don't go into the merits, go to the prayers.
Pardon? The prayers?
Yes.
Right Honourable Speaker, before I go to the prayers, it is important, Right Honourable Speaker, to mention that, as stated here by your humble petitioners, that in August 2017, over 60,000 small-scale and artisanal miners, including women and children, were forcibly evicted in Mubende, and two, that recently the mining of iron ore was arbitrarily stopped in Chigezi region, which affected over 3,000 households. Just a month ago, over 20,000 small-scale miners, residents, and artisanals in Buhweju were evicted, their equipment confiscated, and they have nowhere to go. Right Honourable Speaker, Parliament some time back pronounced itself on the plight of small-scale and artisanal miners, but nothing has been done. The prayers. Your humble petitioners pray that Parliament intervenes and urges the Minister for Energy and Mineral Development to carry out a study so as to rationalize and formalize the operations of artisanal and small-scale miners in Uganda. Two, government recognizes that artisanal and small-scale mining and construction material mining in Uganda is not a crime, but a livelihood to over 400,000 people, including youth, women, and men, and indirectly sustains over 2 million Ugandans through its various supply chains. That government undertakes a registration exercise of all artisanal miners with a view of proper regulatory mechanism, and reviews the Mining Act 2003 and expedite the enactment of an amendment to the Mining Act 2003 provide for the operations of artisanal miners. Government implements and enforces all contemporary and international best practices in regard to small-scale and artisanal miners. Government reviews the decision to evict the small-scale miners and investigates the operations of mineral investors for violation of the Mining Act. But in the meantime, the artisanal miners can be regulated by their local governments and body association. That the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development revises the license they grant to mining investors with a view of bringing it to conformity with the Mining Act 2003. And finally, Right Honourable Speaker, in the alternative and without prejudice to the above, Parliament directs the Committee on Natural Resources to investigate the actions and allegations of gross human rights violations, extortion, illegal mining, forced labor, employment of children, and exploitation of small-scale and artisanal miners by the mineral police in Uganda. I thank you so much, Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honour Member. Now, Honour Members, this is another not very happy day for Parliament, because this is now the third petition relating to the mining sector, and it seems that the space for the ordinary people of Uganda is shrinking. First, they were chased out of the waters. It's now the military which is fishing. Now they're being chased out of the mines. It's now the the police or whatever who are mining. They're now carrying out mining. You know, and I am surprised that it's what they call a mineral police. I did not know we had a mineral police. I know about environment police, but the mineral police I don't know. But I'm told they are there, that they're the ones evicting people, and now they've now started the mining themselves. And they are mining in people's land, because the gold is in people's land, so they're chasing them away and taking it over. In the meantime, the Committee on Natural Resources was assigned work on the Mubende petition. They have not yet reported. The minister also came here and gave a very unsatisfactory answer relating to that issue. They even said that they are going to give 30% of the land to the miners, but now that was 1 year ago. We have come 1 full year. Next they are going to Karamoja, after that they go to Busoga, after that continue chasing people from land. They have even failed to bring an amendment of the mining law. Where do you want the people of Uganda to go? Where would the people of Uganda get their living from? So anyway, the natural resources, you're in that committee? I just wanted to send the matter to the Committee on Natural Resources also, in addition to the one of Mubende. Okay, give your information.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to thank my colleague for the petition and also your wise guidance. Madam Speaker, some time back, an aerial survey was done to locate the minerals in this country. To date, this minister seated here has not yet presented that report for Parliament to know where these minerals are located. But the other day I saw him lamenting that there are people who have acquired licenses, mining licenses, and have not utilized them and are keeping them. Actually, what we got to learn is that the people who obtain the licenses have information about the location of the minerals and are using these licenses to vend. Actually, they are vending these licenses to people who have capacity to mine these minerals. And that is why you now see cases of Buheju in Mubende. So it's important that this information is available to this Parliament through the committee, so that the country knows which minerals are and in what quantities in which part of the country, so that this country can, if at all the minerals are there, then the whole country should stand to benefit from these minerals. So for me, I would propose that the committee, while it is perusing through these petitions, should also task the ministry to avail that map with the information so that they can report this August House for the country to know. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
And the other information for the minister is that these citizens told me that the thieves are using exploration licenses to do mining. They're using prospecting licenses to do mining. They no longer come to you for the mining license. They just use exploration and they move. Okay, you come from Mubende, okay.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, while Honorable Mwizuche was presenting his petition, he commented about violation of human rights. And indeed, when they are evicting these people, some are raped, some are beaten. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I'm just wondering, now that you're directing the report to the Committee of Natural Resources, is it the same committee that is going even try to dig deep to see how human rights were violated? Because it is very common. And lastly, Right Honorable Speaker, the mafias in our government, they are there. Like in Mubende, why these people were evicted, Honorable Rockris will tell us that we found that actually when they were disguising that they were giving license, the 30%, it was given to the husband of Honorable Benny Bugembe. It is a fact. He knows we sat in the meeting, so you will find that even in Buheju, if you are to dig out Honorable Mwizuche, The ministers, the mafias Honorable Anita talked about, they are already involved. So we need to dig deeper. I thank you.
So the committee, in examining this petition, the committee will also examine the issue of human rights. They'll have to go there to interview the petitioners and bring us information. Next item.
Right Honorable, just one thing, one small thing. Right Honorable Speaker, Right Honorable Speaker, you remember I stood on the floor of the House a few months ago and reported that our people, the people in my constituency, who depend on the river Buhindaji. Right Honorable Speaker, the river Buhindaji flows all the way from Buhweju through Ivanda, down through my constituency to the Lake George. Those same miners deposit silt and waste in the same river that is used by the animals in the Queen Elizabeth National Park, but most importantly, our people use that water for a livelihood. I raised that issue on the floor of the House about 3 months ago. You tasked the minister to come with a statement, but up to today, it hasn't come. I've been meeting him regularly when I enter the House and ask him, Honorable colleague, what is happening? My son, let's talk in the corridor first. Let's not raise it again. I think today I have to let the cat out of the bag. Up to today, our people are taking dirty water. Their livelihoods are threatened. When I met him in the office, I asked him if these people, first of all, can stop them from depositing the silt in the river, because the river water it should be used by the people and the animals. But two, in the event that this is taking time, can we find alternative, safe, clean water for people to use? Up to today, very soon I'll be evicted from my own constituency just because I can't defend the rights of my people to have clean water for usage. Right, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Okay, the honourable members have the petition has been sent to Committee of Natural Resources. Minister, okay, let's hear the Senior Minister first, then the Honourable Lokeris.
Madam Speaker, I come from Ivanda, and my constituency borders his constituency, and that gold stretch covers what we call Ivanda Buhweju ridges. That's where there is that gold. And also, I come from a small country called the Karamoja, which is actually full of gold. And gold, yes, full of gold. There's a lot of gold in Karamoja. It is obvious, everybody knows that. But in Ivanda, why are they poor in Mubende? There is also gold there. In Ivanda, we have what we call artisanal miners. And they're everywhere, near Chika, Chichuzi, where River Buhindaji passes, etc. But I have seen a tendency. I want to comment on what Mbra commented on, talking about Honorable Mbra, Tekamwa, Kekamwa Gafa. What he commented on, Honorable Mbra. Some of those whom we are calling mafias, they may not be mafias. But there are some people who are using that tactic, and of saying that these are mafias when they are hiding down, stealing gold. I'm going to give an example. I have been with Honorable Abbas, fighting for the rights of the people for their gold. Because that gold is theirs. They found it there. Yes, we don't have the capacity to go deeper and get reef gold. But we have got the capacity, we as people, to get alluvial gold.
Clarification.
But
clarification.
I will give you a chance. Let me conclude my point, then I give you a chance. But those who are stealing gold, they have been dragging in the names of other people to get a cover-up. Yes, I agree with you. A cover-up. For instance, I know somebody with a license. He said it is a Biabagambi mining gold. I had to go down on the ground,
find out who is doing it. In Ivanda, when I went there to meet that man disappeared. Yes, he had to run to take off. Yes, no, not a gun as such, because I wanted to mobilize people to beat him up. So therefore, this matter, though I am in the government, this matter is not only within people within the government, even outside there. People are actually busy using what they call prospecting licenses, because you are supposed to get a prospecting license. After getting a prospecting license, you get exploration license. After getting exploration license, then you get a mining license. People, they use prospecting licenses to steal gold. And even if I'm with the government, I'm not going to sit, keep quiet when people are looting our gold in Uganda. We can't. I can't stop that. Sometimes we are going to get out of this box, maybe if we are to lose whatever we have, but we have to protect our people. We want investors, yes, we want investors. But these investors must work with the locals. At least the locals, they get alluvial gold on the top, and these investors get what is underground, which we can't reach. Or we get location licenses. Why come the commissioner, I have asked the commissioner several times, why can't you give people location licenses? Within the license itself, they can have it. I thank you very much.
Olive, let's say from Olive. Olive and then the minister, Lokeris. Olive, Honorable Koyechenga first. Honorable Koyechenga and then the minister.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity. Madam Speaker, the information I want to give, after these people, Honorable Minister doesn't want us to call them mafias. After chasing people out of their gold mines, they have taken them over. We have a forest reserve. If you go there, Madam Speaker, today, you will find all the machines in this world mining as if there is no tomorrow. So who are these people?
Minister Lokeris.
Right Honorable Speaker and colleague members, the artisanal industry is spread everywhere in the country because these small-scale miners go and scavenge everywhere, and when they get gold, they don't ask for any license. You can go to Karamoja, where Honorable John was talking about. You can go to Makapiriprit, my place. They are also there. When you go, why don't you wait until we give you a license? They say this is God-given. And then after they have done that, they just walk away and leave the gaping holes. So it's Mbende, it's everywhere. What we are doing, Honorable Honorable Speaker, is what we say, the law which you asked us to bring. The drafting team has already finished the law. It is now taken for consultations in every region so that they put in their views. We look at which was genuine so that we bring a good law to control the artisanal mining industry and also control those who have the licenses. Those who use exploration license for mining, those are criminals. It is not supposed to be so.
So when will you bring them to court if they are criminals, Minister? Those who are using exploration license to mine, what are you doing about it? When will you bring them to court?
Once those are got, they are supposed to be arrested. And that's why we talked about the mining policy. Not supposed to mine, it is supposed to control and arrest them and bring them to book.
Honour members, we have said the matter is going to the Committee of Natural Resources. We are giving you use the recess to address this issue and report on the 20th of October. The committee, on both Mubende and Buheju. Now, and you work on the law, Honour Minister. Please work on the law, the amendment.
Right, Honorable Speaker. We are working on the law, we are only doing consultation and then making the final draft and it comes here.
But we would be happy to hear that you have arrested those people who are using exploration to mine and bring them to court, and we hear that the Ministry of Energy has taken people to court for violating licenses.
We'll go to follow that matter, Right, Honorable Speaker.
Okay, honourable members, join me in welcoming a delegation of ladies from Bukango Women's Group in Bukoma Simbi. Are you the ones? Please stand up. They are coming from Bukoma Simbi, represented by Honorable Ruth Katusabe and Honorable Nanyondo. You're welcome. And they're very smart. Thank you. Item 5.
Item 5.
I've got a register of MPs of this House. Yes, item 5.
Item 5, responses by ministers to issues raised on A, media reports of the intention of Uganda National Examinations Board to withhold the exam materials for schools that failed to pay the secondary science and mathematics teachers program fees levied by Minister of Education.
Minister of Education.
Right, Honorable Speaker. I beg to respond to the issues on the relationship between UNEP and SESEMAT as raised by the Honorable Macho God Geoffrey, MP Busia Municipality. Madam Speaker and dear colleagues, for members' information, SESEMAT is a program that was established to enhance the quality of teaching and learning of science and mathematics in secondary schools. It was initiated and approved by this August House in 2005. The program was sponsored by JICA, whose support expired in 2016.
Order. Order. Yes, Minister.
Right, Honorable Speaker and dear colleagues, in order not to lose the purpose for which SESEMAT was initiated, after the expiry of JICA's sponsorship, a sustainability strategy was jointly agreed on that students should contribute for continuity of this important program. Right, Honorable Speaker and dear colleagues, this meant that students had to make a contribution. As we speak, the students contribute 1,000 shillings per term, and whether they are in government or private schools, they all contribute. Head teachers and proprietors of private schools are the ones who remit this money to the regional management committees who are mandated to make the collection. Madam Speaker, I want to make it clear to this House that this money is not remitted to the Ministry of Education and Sports. It is remitted to the management committee, to the regional SESEMAT management committees, which are mandated to make this collection. And the requirement to present the certificate to UNEB is therefore a strategy to ensure that schools comply and don't cheat our learners who pay. Because it was discovered, Madam Speaker and dear colleagues, that after students make this payment, the school proprietors or some head teachers would eat this money. They would not remit it, so it was a strategy was laid that they must provide or present a certificate. Right, Honorable Speaker, for that matter, I wish to clarify that it is not true that UNEB collects the SESEMAT fees from schools. It should further be clear that the Ministry of Education and Sports can use its organs to enforce the implementation of its policies and achieve its objectives, including SESEMAT, which is part of our strategy to improve the delivery of science education. Madam Speaker and dear colleagues, schools are supposed to remit payment to the SESEMAT regional committees, like I've said, which comprise head teachers elected from the different regions. After the payment is done, schools are issued with a remittance certificate, which they present to the SESEMAT officer who sits at UNEB to confirm payment and authenticity of the certificate. because it was once discovered that some head teachers were even presenting forged certificates, you can imagine. Therefore, the schools, after they submit, after they show this certificate, then they are issued with the examination materials. Right, Honorable Speaker, on the matter of involvement of private school owners in the program, I would like to clarify that they are involved already because, one, all schools participate in the election of their regional management committees. Two, refresher courses for teachers benefit from private and government schools. And three, some head teachers of private schools are members of the regional SESEMAT management committees. So members, I would like to give you the current status. Currently, as of yesterday, of the 3,596 secondary schools which have already registered for, which registered for UCE, 2,136 have already collected their materials. Out of the remaining 1,460 schools, 469 schools have not yet, all are still clearing UNEB examination fees. Now, while the 991 schools, for several unknown reasons, have not yet picked up their examination materials. Madam Speaker and dear colleagues, in conclusion, I would like to advise that since the regional management committees comprise head teachers, we advise the affected schools to urgently liaise with their regional SESEMAT committees to discuss the modality of settling this important issue. And secondly, as a ministry and regulator, we encourage all schools to continue making these payments. However, we have also organized a meeting of all stakeholders, including UNEB and the national SESEMAT team, to address this challenge, Madam Speaker. Dear colleagues, I beg to report.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So no, it was Honorable Macho's question. He's not here. You have been given advice what to do. Let your schools go to the regional management center and check from there, please. 5B. 5B.
State on the dismissal coverage of a need for support to government-aided secondary schools in Buyaga West County, Kagadi District.
Minister of Education.
Right Honorable Speaker and dear colleagues, you will agree with me that the government came up with a policy where every sub-county must have a USE school. However, in 2015, a national mapping exercise was carried out to establish sub-counties without a public secondary school. And we discovered that 533 sub-counties did not have secondary schools. Dear colleagues, I have a list which I'm going to lay on table. Since then, government has made the following interventions to address this matter. One, we have grant-aided schools. In 2016-2017, we managed to grant aid 20. In 2017-2018, we grant-aided 102. In 2019-2020, we grant-aided 62. Madam Speaker and dear colleagues, I'm going to lay on table the list of all the coded schools. Now, the new constructions are also going on. I want to assure this House, Madam Speaker, that a number of schools are constructed and existing renovated under the Intergovernmental Fiscal Transfer, the U-Gift program. And in 2018-2019, 117 schools were planned to be constructed. And of course, I want to report that work is in progress. And this includes 89 new sub-counties and 28 expansion and new facilities in the existing schools. Madam Speaker, in the financial year 2019-2020, 115 schools are going to be constructed. Preparations for procurement is in progress, and this includes 83 new sub-counties and 32 expansion and new facilities in the existing schools. As government continues to implement this policy, Madam Speaker and dear colleagues, the following issues should be noted. One, we have a challenge that as we try to reduce on the number of sub-counties, then new districts are created and new sub-counties are created. That again pushes us to the long list. Now, new sub-counties and town councils have also been created, and all these are being planned for nevertheless. And as government continues to look for resources, we assure this House, Madam Speaker, that in a few years to come, 2-3 years to come, we believe we shall have completed all the sub-counties that lack secondary schools. So at this moment, Madam Speaker, allow me to lay on table the list of new schools under U-Gift Phase 1 in sub-counties without a government USE school. I lay on table. Madam Speaker, I also beg to lay on table the list of grant-aided secondary schools in the financial year 2018-2019. I beg to lay. I also beg to lay the list of grant-aided secondary schools in the financial year 2016-2017.
What about 2019, 2020?
Madam Speaker, let me first lay on table what I have. Madam Speaker, I beg to lay on table the list of new schools under U-Gift Phase 2 in sub-counties without a government USE. Dear colleagues, these lists are indicating the region, indicating the district, and also indicating the sub-county where the schools are going to be constructed or where they have been constructed. I also beg to lay another list of sub-counties where the schools are under construction. Madam Speaker, I also beg to lay the list of grant-aided schools in this the financial 2019-2020. Madam Speaker, it also shows the districts, it shows the sub-counties, and it shows even the names of the schools that are being worked on, that were grant-aided. Madam Speaker, finally, allow me to also lay on table a full list of sub-counties without secondary schools, Madam Speaker, like I have already pointed out.
That you have not, despite what you are planning, there are going to still be those without sub-counties. Despite what you have laid. Despite what you have laid, there are going to be other schools still without sub-counties.
Yes, Madam Speaker, like I've said, I have pointed out the schools that we are already constructing under U-Gift Phase 1. But I have also indicated the schools that we are going to construct under U-Gift Phase 2. And of course, I have also pointed out that because we are creating more sub-counties, Madam Speaker, you realize, colleagues, that even as we are nearing to completing all the districts, then more schools are, more sub-counties require, because we keep creating more sub-counties. But we want to assure this House that because it is our mandate to ensure that we have a secondary school per sub-county, we are planning at least by the end of, assuming we stop cutting and splitting. But if that still stops, I want to assure this House that in the next 2-3 years, we shall have completed all the sub-counties. Because our emphasis now is to make sure that we complete all the sub-counties.
Thank you so much, Minister. I want to invite members to look at those, they'll study them. If there are discrepancies, you will come back to us, but we really want to thank the Minister. That's very comprehensive information. Thank you so much.
Speaker, I don't know, I beg for your guidance whether I first complete the next item on the order paper or I first give some clarity on the issue of the teachers' SACCO money.
You can, because they're all urgent. You answer the SACCO money and then you can go to the next item. Okay. So I hope you came with a flash to download, to upload the information for the members.
Madam Speaker, I thought we had already uploaded on. Okay, Madam Speaker, I want to pledge. Okay. I want to pledge because I have already signed those statements. I'm going to make sure that it is uploaded.
Wonderful. Thank you, Minister. Now the SACCO money.
Right, Honorable Speaker and dear colleagues, you'll remember that His Excellency the President pledged 25 billion to the Teachers' SACCO. I want to thank government because as we speak, the government has done its best to ensure that the teachers get this money. Madam Speaker, allow me to give information to this House that in the financial year 2013-2014 and in the financial year 2014-2015, 4,317,000,000 and 4,000,000,99 respectively was, I would use the word erroneously, transferred to the teachers, for the teachers circle to the Microfinance Support Center. It was supposed to be transferred to Walimu Sacco, but unfortunately it was transferred to the Microfinance Support Center. Madam Speaker, I'm glad the Minister of Finance is here. Maybe he will throw some light on that money that went to the Microfinance Support Center. However, in 2015-2016, the Walim Sacco received 5 billion. 2016-2017, they received 3.25 billion. 2017-2018, they received 3.25 billion. 2017-2018, they received 4.3 billion. And in 2018-2019, they received 4.475 billion. 2019-2020, they received 100 million. Madam Speaker, according to our calculation, if we include the money that went to the Microfinance Support Center, the total of the amount of money the teachers would have received by now should be 26,502,000,000, exceeding even what was pledged. But Madam Speaker, because the other money that went to the Microfinance Support Center did not come to the teachers' circle, they still demand about 7.815 billion. So, Madam Speaker, the Ministry of Education and Sports, together with the Ministry of Finance, of course, had a discussion with the Solicitor General, who gave guidance, a legal guidance, a legal advice, that this money has to be sent back to the teachers' circle from the Microfinance Support Center. Well, on the issue of how the money was spent from the Microfinance Support Center, Madam Speaker, I think that is now not our responsibility. Maybe it should now be the Ministry of Finance to guide. I beg to report.
Thank you very much, Minister, for your responses. Minister of Finance, when is the money going back to the teachers? The one from Microfinance Support Center.
Madam Speaker and honorable colleagues, the resources which were made in the first place to go to the teachers' circle went to microfinance on the account that we thought at that time that this money could be administered properly through the Microfinance Center, which had structures in place. But since then, Madam Speaker, we have created structures that are capable to handle this money for the teachers, and now the money is going to the teachers since that time. And part of this money had already been spent by onward lending to other to institutions. So we are in the process of transferring the money which was meant for the teachers to go to the teachers' circle, and we think that that can be done.
Order.
Can be done.
Order.
At the beginning of next
Order.
year.
Point of order.
Right, Honorable Speaker. I feel very uncomfortable that I have to call the Minister of Finance to order. How can the Minister of Finance tell Parliament that an institution that got money erroneously spent it? The procedure as laid down in the Public Finance and Accountability Act is very clear that before you spend any government fund, it must be properly budgeted for. We must know how you have worked out your program of action and budgeted for and financed. Now, how could they have spent public funds without all these procedures followed? So, and moreover, this statement coming from the Minister of Finance, it makes me feel nervous as to how much they have spent already in that same manner. So can the minister, is the minister therefore in order to tell us that the money which went to the account erroneously was actually spent? Is he in order? Which was public money, is he in order?
Minister can tell us whether he violated the Public Finance Management Act. Me, I don't know when the money went and how.
Madam Speaker, this money was for lending. It was not for spending as per se. It was for lending. Yeah, for teachers. So Madam Speaker, I need to come to the House again and know to tell the House when the money which was supposed to be sent to Teachers Circle and was sent to the Microfinance Circle, Center, when will it be transferred to the teachers? And what exactly, whether it is still available for the teachers?
But, Honourable Minister, if my budget says I have 300 million to lend, then I see 500, I just move to spend. I just move to spend the additional money without inquiring whether it's really mine.
And Madam Speaker,
But it was not erroneous. It was a deliberate policy that the money which was meant to go to the circle of the teachers be sent to the Microfinance Center to be administered under the Microfinance Center, because by that time it was the Microfinance Center which had capacity. So it was supposed to be lent to the teachers. So what we need to understand now, which we shall cross-check and come back, out of the money which was put under Microfinance Center, how much was lent to the teachers and how much is available to be transferred to the teachers? So at the beginning of the next sitting, Madam Speaker, we'll give this information on 28th of October.
Okay.
But Madam Speaker,
let them bring the information as soon as we return.
The minister raised something here which has just bypassed us, but it's important. The minister said, when you add the money that the teachers have so far received, and the money which was given to the Microfinance Support Center, it exceeds the pledge. We are here looking for money to do things which we have put in the budget. They are saying there is no money, but money exceeding what was appropriated for a certain item is being sent to the various sectors. Can they also clarify on that as the minister comes?
But that's what you said, that it was sent there for the Microfinance Center to administer to the teachers. Hmm? I know it's what the Minister of Education said, but...
But the teachers asked for support. At the beginning it was 5 billion. At the beginning it was 25? Yeah, 25 billion. So if we include now what was sent to the Microfinance Center, it comes to 26. And Madam Speaker, all this is support to our teachers. So an extra billion to the teachers is not a big deal. What is important is that this money, Madam Speaker, what we need to understand.
Order.
What we need to understand that this money is appropriated by Parliament. So it is nothing like we are sending money to the Teachers Circle erroneously. No. Whatever money goes to the Circle of Teachers is appropriated by teachers. So at the beginning it was a pledge of 25 billion, but because of the dynamics that have been happening, we have actually exceeded the pledge of 25 billion, which I think is okay, as long as it is appropriated by Parliament.
Okay, so on the 28th you come back with the details of how you are going to make good, and to tell us exactly whether it was the teachers who received that money or other Ugandans. Okay, next item is
on the failure of the Higher Education Students Financing Board to absorb 4,000 applicants for the Students' Loan Scheme who had been duly admitted in various public universities.
Minister?
Right, Honorable Speaker. On the 1st October 2019, the matter on financing of the Students' Loan Scheme for the academic year 2019-2020 came up on this floor of Parliament, and the Honorable Minister of State for Finance, Planning and Economic Development was instructed to say something or to make a statement on this matter on the floor. Right, Honorable Speaker, yesterday we held a meeting with the Ministry of Finance and found that from the inception of the scheme in financial year 2014-2015, government has not been able to finance all the students that apply for the loans under the scheme because, of course, this is due to budgetary constraints. Madam Speaker, some applicants sadly remain unfunded all the years. This gap has increased from 924 in the academic year 2014-2015 to the current level of 5,474 in the academic year 2019-2020. The increase in the gap is largely attributed to the increased dissemination of information on the loan scheme to the population, which has attracted more applicants, and we do appreciate that. Right, Honorable Speaker, government is committed to providing financing for the students' loan scheme, but accordingly, the financing has steadily increased from 6 billion in the financial year 2014-2015 to the current level of 31.8 billion in the financial year 2019-2020. Madam Speaker and dear colleagues, the number of students supported has also increased from 1,201 in academic year 2014-2015 to the current level of 1,873 in the academic year 2019-2020. Cumulatively, the number of students that have accessed loans from the loan scheme currently stands at 10,024. However, as alluded to earlier, the funding available cannot meet the requirement as evidenced from the number that qualifies but cannot access funding due to inadequacy. Madam Speaker and dear colleagues, in light of the inability to receive additional funding for the loan scheme in financial 2019-2020, my ministry could not support the increased number of applicants. Going forward, my ministry is one, to come up with a sustainable strategy to address the increased demand for the loan scheme as we plan for the financial year 2020-2021. This strategy will also take into consideration the continuing students, the cohorts who currently are not considered under the criteria for accessing loans under the scheme. Madam Speaker, maybe to throw a little more light on this. For example, if there are some students who joined the university or joined other tertiary institutions and reach like second year and cannot be able to fund their fees, this is what government is probably would think to do if we get more resources. This is the kind of criteria that we are talking about, we would look at in the future. Once finalized, the strategy will be tabled and considered by Parliament as part of the National Budget Framework Paper for financial 2020-2021. My ministry and the Ministry of Finance, Madam Speaker, have further agreed that the Board of Directors for Higher Education Students' Loan Scheme should come up with a clear financing framework over the medium term, clearly taking into consideration the recovery from those who early accessed the loan. And this will enable government to better plan how to address the situation that is currently being experienced. As I conclude, Madam Speaker, maybe this may be a request. You know, dear colleagues, that every time the budget call circular is presented, in most cases it advises sectors to budget within. For example, what you got last financial year, you are expected to budget for the next financial year within the ceiling. But I think now time has come, or time should come. I know we am part of government, and this is something that we need really to look at, that there are certain sectors, for instance, health, sectors like education, where populations are increasing every year. For example, the loan scheme, students who apply increase every year. But if we are asked to budget within the limit, then that means we shall be limited from taking on new numbers. So it is my humble appeal, maybe next time, we need to see how finance can help in as far as the budget circular is concerned, so that at least such sectors and such budget items are given some special consideration.
Honour members, you know, sometimes I don't know how we do our things. Because the SDGs require us to do certain things. This is part of the human capacity building. But now, you know, we borrow money for this, we borrow money for that. We even pay for things which are not planned. We spend money on things which haven't planned. For instance, when the Pope came here, how much did we spend? We spent money for the Pope. It's a good thing he came, but it wasn't planned, but we found money for that. We cannot find 5 billion to support the children of Uganda. Really?
Madam Speaker, let me seek clarification. Madam Speaker.
I sit on the Council of
Madam
Makerere.
Speaker.
Okay, try.
Madam Speaker, I sit on the Council of Makerere, and I can tell you, this is something that really, really very painful. We are spending a lot of money, Madam Speaker, on government sponsorship, which benefit we, the rich. When you look at the government sponsorship, it's students who are coming from schools, Gayaza, Namagunga, Chisubi, Chitende, schools which even charge 3 million now. They charge even 3 million at secondary level, and when those students come, they strike refusing to pay even less than $1 million at university level, okay? If we could convert all that money
into loan.
Sorry, right, Honorable. If we could convert that money so that one, some of the money goes to student loan scheme, then the other money, Madam Speaker, goes to district quota system, because when you say district quota, for example, Madam Speaker, you find each district gets, okay? So, Madam Speaker, to me, I think it is very important we support this student loan scheme and we scrap off this business of government sponsorship, yes, so that children of the poor benefit. Me, Tayabga, I can afford to pay for my child. Information, Chairman Oporoti.
Although, of course, sometimes there are children who are brilliant from poor schools, but they also get the government sponsorship. There's also that.
Thank you very much, Honorable, for giving way. Madam Speaker, I'm giving information in line with what Honorable Taiwa is saying. If you read the Higher Education Financing Act, it clearly says that we shall progressively move away from government scholarships to the loan scheme. But the Ministry of Education has resisted